Here's a quick show of how I managed to make the the power functions tender. Here's a quick show off. Hopefully it won't crash. There we go. And it has no trouble pushing the thing. And I think the battery's running low because it appears to do that and crash. No, it pushes the loco very well, and I've only had, so far, the heaviest thing I've had to test for its pulling strength is the Emerald Knight, which, as a lot of people may know, isn't very frictionless. It does tend to drag a lot. Anyway, I'll just start off with the motor. The motor is actually just floating on, like, sort of in this gap here. This motor is actually a power function motor, but as you can see, the front clips are missing, and the top is actually a round brick with the top cut off, which I modified a long time ago because I damaged the Lego a long while ago because I didn't realise what I was doing to it, and it was very silly of me. So I stopped, but I thought I may as well put this piece to use since the original pin I got with this motor was broken. The motor was severely damaged when I received it, and I wasn't too happy about that, but made the best of it. It still worked. Still worked altogether, but I just drilled out the inside and stuck that pin in there, and it just sort of floats in that gap. It would work if I were to buy a brand new motor and put it in there. Except that one would stay in, but this one just falls out. Anyway, here's the top. It is held on just by gravity. So is this little piece. But it's all I could do, and I did have loose coal in here like before, but every time I took that off, it just all spilled everywhere. So there was no point having it there. That is there to cover the infrared receiver and hold this on, and in turn holding that on. I had loads of space in here. All that space inside was doing was holding this on and holding that on. And since I knew I could get these two held on by gravity, I thought I might as well give it a go. Well, the IR receiver's here. This whole battery box is sort of floating on, sort of sitting on top of this rear bogie, and that bar which is meant to simulate the gap in between the wheels. This thing here used to be attached to the 9-volt motor which I had there, and I did plan to buy some 9-volt track and have it powered by 9-volt, which it can still be powered by 9-volt. You just simply unplug all this lot and just plug a 9-volt into what would be an appropriate slot for a fixed brand new one of these motors, but the fixed one I had to change, as you saw. These sides are just, to turn the thing on and off, I just pull that off, move these panels and the buttons exposed here. I used these all the way along, so if I take these off as well, oh, damn it, there we go. There's just these panels all the way along and here, and these, this is a good way to keep all the wiring so it's not all tangled up in a bunch here. It's actually sitting in the wall of the tender because of that gap. That gap, well, you can't really see it because of the sides, the new side support ones, but the gap there that you can see on the bottom there is just big enough so that this won't force it outwards, so that can happily sit there. Oh, hold on. Oh, there we go. That can happily sit there and not be at all forced outwards by the plug. It just sits there comfortably. And I just bought where'd it go? Oh yeah, I bought I had already had one of these I found in my collection. I bought another one and took them to school and give them a little polish, as you can see, all shiny. I had this idea to do this a while, actually not too long ago, because I knew it was going to be very expensive to get this thing 9-volt, because I'd have to buy all the track for it. I mean, I got this track, which is the ME Models track, or Me Models, however you pronounce it. But that's pretty expensive too. So I thought for power functions, method. I did have to bring this wall here, or the edge where the coal would come out, forwards a stud because of all the wiring in here. I reckon I can actually put that back a bit now that I've spaced all this out. But as you can see, the wire from this travels down and goes through the left-hand side, plugs into the battery box. The wire from the motor travels up through here, goes down the right-hand side, and curls round back on itself and plugs onto the IR receiver. And with the top of the receiver just poking out amongst all this coal, it can easily pick up the signal from the remote control. The battery box is just sat here. Hold on a sec. Okay, sorry about that. Here, yeah, it just falls. But here's the bottom of the battery box. This is simply attached through some of these plates, the 1x2 with one stud in the middle, and where this attaches by the back, and it's just that's all that holds that on. And the flat area here is what is able for the battery box to lay on, and that stays in there pretty comfortably. Doesn't tend to fall out, and if it starts to bend inwards, all I've got to do is hold that down and push the battery box down, and it straightens it back up. So originally I did have a ball jointed clip going from the motor plugging onto this, and it used to go off like that, but because of that it used to fall off. So when I discovered when I had room in front of the battery box, I just thought, oh, well, I can go back to the original, how it originally was, with the connection through the middle, and it going in there and swiveling just where it used to be, because I know that connection was comfortable. But otherwise, no changes to that, and that just goes over there, and there's each a 6x6 gap here, and that's held on by. That's just like the windscreen technique. It's just one of those 1x1 plates with a double-sided vertical stud, and that's the first 6x6 section sits over the coal load, and then this just plain old plates with the discs on top, sat on a 4x4, and as you can see, the battery box is sunk one plate down, and that just comfortably sits in there, not flush with the rest of this, and deeper in like it's supposed to be on the real loco. Not much difference to the back. I just quickly may have cut myself out there, and at the beginning. Loco is a bit different. I decided to add a bit of detail with these. I forgot the brake shoes or something like that. Instead of having this as a 1x10 bar, I used these old Technic half plate half bar things, and then just a 1x7 thin bar. Down here I got Lego hands acting as these small pipes that come off in the middle of the bogies, because before they were just 3 1x1 studs, and that shouldn't move like that. Oh, there's not enough weight over here. Oh yeah, that's what. Also, I did take this back a stud because I couldn't work out. There's meant to be a gap from here, like this whole section here was meant to be 1 stud forwards. But if I made that 1 stud forwards, I'd have to move the smoke box 1 stud forwards, which means increasing the black area to 7. And according to the models I've built this from, this area is around 6, and the firebox is around 7. So I didn't want to change that. These bricks here, which act as that long bar part on the side of the real loco, are just sat there. They will fall out if I tip the loco upside down. This is meant to represent the little pipe, the little cylinder that hangs down. I don't know what that does. Cross bracing for the boiler, and this is just the little nub which hangs on the other side. Roof, that is from Bricks Tricks, although I do think I've seen this done before, but if Bricks Tricks, if you were the one who did this first, then hooray for you, and if not, then whoever did it first, thank you. Per control panel, a bit like before, except the pneumatic T-bar is held in with a 1x1 brick with a hole with a stud on it, rather than just a very loose connection with a 1x1 with a clip on it. And this is just a simple pneumatic tube with a hand and another pneumatic tube going down. I can never get this to. That sometimes likes to stay in, sometimes it doesn't. I'm still waiting on an order from Bricklink for red pipe to go up here. Well, actually, no, not that one. This red flex bar or rigid tubing is I did first buy it for this, but then when I discovered that I wouldn't really have much room, because this thing's meant to be here, because there's not meant to be that much of a bend in that. It's meant to be a bit more with the boiler. So I bought some custom coloured pneumatic tubing from someone on a seller on Bricklink. I'm sure some people have seen it, and I managed to, well, kind of accidentally, but that's how much he required. I bought 1.25 meters of red and 1.25 meters of black, so I'm going to use the part of the 1.25 meters of red that I've got to use to put here, and I'm going to cut this up and use them here as these bars, because 1x6 the 6 litre bars with the older type bars, not the new ones with a really thick part, like these ones. These ones, red ones are these sort of only come up to here, and they're not quite long enough, so I didn't want to use one of those. Not much else, but that's about it. Sorry about the fact that the locomotive looks pink. I know this camera can pick up every other colour except red, so it makes the red look pink. But that's that, and the tender together. Ooh, there we go. I actually moved the tender was, due to the fact I wanted to make all the inside power functions, I did take out all the lining that was on the tender, as I did with the cab siding, cab wall, and just replace it with these panels, as I said, just for the wires on the inside. And it has moved a stud down. It didn't used to line up like that. The tender used to be a stud higher, and these didn't. That lined up with this clip instead of lining up with the cheese part. This connection between the loco and the tender, I still haven't got quite to a point where I like it, because this is what I got so far, and it's alright in curves and it pushes it fine, but I mean, look at that. Realistically, that would be a pretty massive gap for the fireman to have to jump every time, wouldn't it? Nothing else much really. And so I will be adding more videos, more pictures when I do have where I have the pneumatic tubing, which I should receive tomorrow. So, and this will go there, and that will go there. So, thanks, and more pictures of Snowman's truck, or Smoking the Bandit Snowman's truck, which I've got sitting over here. And just quick show of that. Yeah, more pictures of this. I did change the windscreen because that looked a bit better, but you see more pictures of that in a bit, because there's a few more things I changed on that. Okay.